I'm just here to do my daily course with you. I try to do a daily course every single day. So if I look away from you, Instagram, it's only because I'm looking at my Facebook and I can't seem to get them both exactly aligned. So it is what it is. And we will deal with whatever it is. And anyway, it's not how I look or the angle at which you see me. It's just the words I'm saying and how they resonate with you. So tell me where you're from, say hello. And I'm going to do my Viral Wisdom course. This is day number 9. And I've been doing this every day, actually for the past now 4 weeks, but I just started this formal teaching, but I've been talking about the virus and the profound impact on us for a long time. Hold on one second. I'm on the wrong Facebook page, so I'll be back. So for those of you who are on Instagram and want to see this beyond the story, then you can join me on my Facebook page where I am constantly. And all my videos are there, and I'm just trying to get on my Facebook page. Give me a second. So join me there. If you this is in the story, so if you want to see all the archived viral wisdoms, please go to my Facebook page and I will be there as well. Let me know where you're from, Instagram. Hello. Hi, Facebook. It's my day 9 of my Viral Wisdom course. I am so excited to be talking to Instagram here and Facebook here. So drop in a line. Tell me where you're saying hi from. I see South Africa and Denmark and so many more people from around the world. So I decided to teach this course because I teach many courses, and right now all my courses are half off. If you wish to avail of the discount, you can use a 50% off coupon. But the reason I decided to do this course for free on Facebook and Instagram is because many people don't have the opportunity, especially today, in today's world, to spend extra money. So I just thought it would be a great moment in time to offer some teachings for free, because I know people are wanting and searching, and maybe some of my words will allow people to realign and to recenter. We're all looking for some re-anchoring during these moments of time. So maybe my words will help you. So I'm so happy you're here joining me from all over the world. Canada and Saratoga and New York. Hi, Lynn. Hi, Deepa from India. Cindy from Boston. So let's dive into today's teaching. So today's teaching is all about being stripped. You know, in essence, we have all been stripped. And being stripped is a very uncomfortable position. Being robbed, being stripped of our normalcy, of our routine, of our organization, of our order is a terribly uncomfortable position, isn't it? And it's causing a lot of inner perturbation. It's causing a lot of inner exposure and vulnerability. We are feeling naked. We are feeling stripped. And we're forced to look at our raw selves without the mask in a very acute, palpable way. And this stripping brings with it an acute exposure to all aspects of our lives. And that's why it's so painful. Without the mask, we get to see who we are. Now you're with your partners 24/7. Your husband can't even go to his mother's house. He's there all the time. Now your wife is there all the time, without her hair color and without her makeup all the time. And there's no break from her. You're with your children all the time. And now you are being called to be a parent 24/7. And this is exhausting, right? Everyone is crumbling. You were so reliant on your distractions, on your night outs, on your restaurants, on going to this one's house and that one's house, but now you're in your own house, so to speak. Now you're in your own body, so to speak, confronting your own co-creation of your life until now. And now you are under a raw microscope of your life in a petri dish. You're seeing your entire life in a petri dish without any filter. No filter. Right? There's no filter. All the women have their gray hair showing, and no one's wearing a bra, and everyone's in their sweatpants, because we have been stripped of our normal armor. Right? All the armor that we covered ourselves with and looked so fancy to the world with, gone. And now you're forced to sit at home and look at your co-creation this far. Look at your partner as who they really are. Look at your children for who it is they really are. And most powerfully, to look at yourself, who you really are. We have been stripped. Some of us have been stripped of our loved ones. Some of us have been stripped of our paychecks. Some of us have been stripped of our jobs, of our identities as career people. We've been stripped. And it is so uncomfortable to be stripped. But while we are being stripped and getting to our naked core, let me also remind you that the earth is being stripped of the virus of humans. And that is not such a bad thing, because we have marauded the earth. We have pillaged it. We have abducted it of its right to roam free, because we have wanted to be dominant. We have chosen to execute our power over the earth in such an unmitigated, unchecked, unbridled fashion. And now we have been stripped of that power. But the earth has been stripped of the virus of humans. And for that, there is some solace, yes? Now, there's other solace too, but you have to go looking for it, because it's not easy to find the solace in being stripped. Who wants to be naked in the world? Who wants to be exposed? We've worked so hard to put on the mask, and now we're stripped of it, right? We're in the four walls of our home with our children of our own co-creation, with our partnerships, our marriages, and now there is no filter. So we are stripped of our filter. But this is what I want to teach you perhaps today, if you will allow me to, with humility, teach you that we as a humanity have forgotten who it is we truly are. In fact, very few of us truly lived authentic. We lived according to what mommy wanted of us, what daddy wanted of us, what culture thought it wanted of us, and what we thought it needed from us. Most of us have been living masked in falsity, masked in inauthenticity, painting our face with all the makeup and thinking we're going to work, and thinking with our briefcase and our suit and our tuxedos and our important business meetings in Tokyo and Mozambique and Turks and Caicos, right? Wonder how many of those were business meetings. But we thought we were all so fancy, jet-setting around the world, and so important and so busy, and we could hide. We hid in our busyness, in our doing, in our title and our labels, and we thought we were that. And now, to be rudely stripped of that is a shock. Now, women have a slight advantage, and maybe that's why women aren't dying as fast as the men. And I'll tell you the advantage that women have. Women have been stripped, especially mothers, of their mask when they had children. And of course, they put the mask back on really fast. They went straight back to the gym, straight back to their jobs, and got all order back. The boobs were up, the tummy was tucked, and they just acted like they did not get stripped. But when a woman becomes a mother, a woman is stripped, because she's stripped of her autonomy. Her one body now has to house 2 or 3 if she's having twins. And the woman is like, what the hell? Wait, who's taking over my body? Who is abducting my body? And women know, who are mothers, that they are stripped of who they were before. And yes, fathers get stripped too, but not internally, not biologically. We women have tasted what it means to be stripped. Yes, we put the mask back on really fast, but for a brief moment, every mother out there knows how she was stripped of her body. She was stripped of her autonomy. Now this baby inside causing her hormones to go crazy, and then when the baby comes out, she's supposed to breastfeed. a woman knows her body wasn't hers, at least in the early years of her child's life. And of course, she quickly covered it up and put the band-aids and pretended like she owned her own body. But that's why I call motherhood, more than fatherhood, a profound portal into the vast truth of who you are. Because for a brief moment, we mothers are stripped of our identity. We don't know who we are. We aren't who we are before the baby, but now the baby's in us, so we're not yet the mother. And it's that time when the baby is in the body, when the mother's one body becomes two, but the baby hasn't come out yet, so she's so in the tunnel. At that point, the to-be mother has a vast opportunity to go deep into a spiritual place of understanding who she is without her mask. We are now in that place. We are all pregnant with pause. We're all pregnant with the new tomorrow that hasn't yet been birthed. We are in the birth canal, pre-birth canal. It's in the body. It's swelling. And we feel like we're going to burst with anticipation. But the baby is not being born, because we think the baby to be born is the cure of the virus. But that's not the real baby to be born. The real baby to be born is the birth of a new consciousness, of a new humanity. And it's not to be done on a global level. It's to be done on the level of you and I, micro, very small. So the reason why people don't typically change, one of their justifications, is what is one person's change going to do? Look at the world. It's so disastrous. You think me putting off my lights off is going to make a difference? You think me not eating meat is going to make a difference? So you're right. It's not going to make a huge difference, but it is going to make a difference. An exponential difference causes a tipping effect. But it starts from the micro. It starts from you and me. When one's consciousness changes, then the next consciousness, and I always say one is a million. So now I want to offer you an opportunity to truly understand how you can change your consciousness so that what can be birthed from your pregnant pause, from your pregnant belly, even the men, because it's a spiritual pregnancy, we're spiritually waiting for the new tomorrow. We're emotionally in a holding pattern, waiting. So men are pregnant too, waiting for the new birth. And I want to offer you how you can participate in your new birth, because what is going to be birthed is you in the new consciousness. And in order for you to be in a new consciousness, you need to first let go the old consciousness, right? You can't come into the new holding on to the old. And this is why no one truly ever changes, because they want to go into the new paradigm completely the same, living in the same house, with the same money, with the same clothes, with the same respect that they get from the outer world. They want everything to stay the same, but they want to change. It doesn't work like this. In order to transform, you have to change all the form. So right now, because we are in a forced pregnancy, in a forced holding pattern, in a forced induced labor, so to speak, in an induced rock bottom, where we are being stripped. If we allow the stripping process to truly be what it needs to be, then we will let go the old and begin the new. So what are we being stripped of? What do we need to let go of? Well, on a basic material level, we're being made to be let go of all ideas around order, all ideas and predictions around being organized, around planning for the future. We're being told, don't do that. That is an illusion. And if you do it knowing you are participating in a slight degree of madness. Do it, plan for the future, but please, through this experience, know that you are forever, never guaranteed a future. Remember that. You're being stripped now of your delusion that you knew the future, that you could have order and planning in your life. So you used to tell your children, I'm preparing you for the future. I'm doing this for tomorrow. I'm saving for tomorrow. There is no tomorrow. So if you want to do it knowing that you're doing it for an illusion. And what that does, so once you strip away that idea, what gets birthed is this idea that I need to live in the present moment. How the F am I living right now? You see, before this pandemic, we lived under the cloud and illusion that we could plan for the future. The danger of that way of thinking is that it allowed you to not be in the present moment. You don't realize how it was stopping you from being in the present moment. But now it's being stripped away. So we are mourning it. But I'm asking you, instead of mourning it, understand what is trying to be birthed. What is trying to be birthed is the new consciousness, which should have been an old consciousness, a new consciousness that, oh, now I understand. I can't really plan. And all my fixation and obsession around the future was so threadbare, was so fragile, was so silly. Now I realize I have to develop a new set of skills, because that is clearly an illusion. So what gets birthed is the profound awareness that if my present moment is not powerful, is not resonant with who I am, is not empowered, is not free, then my life is wasted. This is the profound message that gets given to us in this pregnant pause, waiting to be birthed when the old is stripped. So when we strip away from this delusion that all our planning meant something, that we could have a future, that we thought we had a future through the planning, once you strip that, now you're given an opportunity to birth this new consciousness that your present moment needs to be lived in a new way. And most of us have not been living in the present moment in any way. Forget a new way. We've not been present. We've been waiting to get rich, to get thin, for the career raise, for the job raise, for the salary raise, for the children to go to college, for the children to get married, for if then. We've been waiting for the then. And let this moment in time, let this conception and this pregnancy and the labor be for the labor of consciousness, of you understanding that the main reason that this is happening is for you to look at your present and change it according to your authentic self now. Stop waiting. There is no future. So that's one thing we've been stripped of, and there's an opportunity. It's still in the belly. It's still not birth for you to begin to birth a new consciousness. Think about it and let it go. You're being stripped of it. You could be obstinate. Humanity is very stubborn, and humanity could go, nope, the minute I come out, I'm going back to normal. Go ahead, your choice. But you've been offered an opportunity for a spiritual jewel. The next thing that has been stripped is all your identification with all things of waste and excess. So shoes, clothes, makeup, jewelry, cosmetics, makeup, yeah? But all the cosmetology, the padding, the cars, the where I live, how I live, who I know. You are now, because you are at home, not wearing your clothes, not wearing your shoes, not wearing your cosmetics, not even meeting the people you know, you are being stripped of that enmeshment to that. You're being offered an opportunity to discover who you are without that. And most of us are going, holy shit, I don't know whether I like myself. I need my friends. I need to wear my makeup. And you're looking at your hair and you're realizing, oh God, this is how my hair really is. This is how old I really am. Oh my goodness. And your partners are looking at you and you're looking at your partners. You're looking at your partner and going, I didn't know you're an alcoholic. And he's like, he or she is like, yeah, because before I used to drink not under your scrutiny all the time. Or you're like, I didn't know you had rage issues. The other day, somebody called me up, one of my friends, and she's like, oh my God, what's happening to my partner? And I said, this is happening for you to never forget that your partner has rage issues. Maybe it was all hidden before because you only saw them for an hour a day. So you got upset once a month. But that once a month would have lingered for 50 years. Now you're getting it in concentration and you're being asked to change now. So as we're being stripped away from all that we thought was so important to us, oh my God, we used to put our makeup, all the women in their cars, Oh, fancy cars, going, showing off their cars. Now we're not doing any of that. So we are being asked, so that's been stripped away. So what is in the belly waiting to be birthed? A new consciousness. What is that new consciousness from this stripping away? The new consciousness is, wow, I was really dependent on bullshit before. I was really, really dependent on my shoes and my clothes. And I don't know who I am without it. I don't even feel worthy. I certainly don't feel beautiful. I don't feel sexual. I don't feel worthy. I don't have coping skills. I'm a rageaholic, alcoholic, foodaholic, Netflixaholic. And I'm seeing now, I'm replacing those addictions with new addictions. So the consciousness that gets an opportunity to be birthed, if you so choose, is to now detach from excess and go down, whittle down to your bare self. Find out how much do you really need to live, to eat, to sleep, to be beautiful, to feel comfortable. And if you're seeing yourself in absolutely dysfunctional coping patterns, as many people are falling apart, then with great compassion, go, oh my goodness, I do not want what will be birthed to be dysfunctional. I do not want what will be birthed to be an unhealthy new self. Do you want an unhealthy baby? No. You take care of yourself. This is your chance to now birth a healthy new you. But in order to do that, you have to see the unhealthy parts. You have to see now, and you're given an opportunity to see who you truly are. How much you really eat. How much you really drink. How much you really need your friends. How much you really need company. How much you need entertainment. Because sitting with yourself is so intolerable and unbearable. So now, as you're being made to sit with yourself, you're being asked to grow up. Because a true grown-up, a true adult, which you will rarely find, is one who is self-governing, self-autonomous, self-sovereign. Doesn't mean disconnected, doesn't mean not compassionate, but is fully empowered within the self, without the makeup, without the shoes, without the clothes, without the friends, without the social circle, without the show-off persona, the veneer of the ego. So as your veneer of the ego gets stripped, it is scary and uncomfortable because you're asking yourself naked eye to naked image in the mirror. Who am I? And you're being given an opportunity to birth in the tomorrow, which isn't guaranteed, therefore it's in the now. You're being asked to birth in the now for the future. A new you that will claim and declare complete autonomy. Declare your independence from all things wasteful, all things excess. Go to your closet, and I know you won't. Go to your closet and see what represents this new birthing. And if there are objects, things, scarves, shoes, necklaces, cosmetics that do not reflect this new consciousness, then give it away, shed it, release it. We are now in a new time. We are being asked for a new self to emerge. But if you don't use this opportunity of the stripping to then discover the new, you would have lost a new opportunity, a new moment in time, a vast and powerful portal for a new you to emerge. I tease my clients to blame the pandemic, just blame the pandemic. I'm leaving my job. I'm leaving my marriage. I'm leaving my house. I'm leaving my city. I'm leaving. Blame the pandemic, so to speak. What I mean by that is use this time where the mask has been stripped away, where for the first time in our lives, through this great, grand pause, like the game, Simon Says, and they go pause, statue, freeze, whatever game you played as a kid, which asked you to pause. This is that time. Do you know it will never come in your life like this again? It will never. Unless you go intentionally for a 25 or 30-day meditation retreat, you will never again pause. You will never pause. So this forced labor, this forced pregnancy, where you are being asked to birth something What that will be is now up to you. But we are all pregnant in the pause. We are all pregnant waiting for, and the labor pains are already being felt because we are in detox. We're being asked to be in labor and detox, right? So the pangs and the pains and the contractions and the withdrawals are tremendous. But there's no pain, no gain, right? No prize without the price, I say. I say pain is the greatest portal. I say all this stuff all the time that it's almost cliche to my own mouth, but it is so apropos to this moment in time. Never again will you be in an involuntary shutdown. Now turn it to voluntary. Stop complaining. Stop resisting. I know it hurts. It sucks. It's sad. It's tragic. It's scary. It's everything pain is supposed to be. But because we will never voluntarily do this to ourselves, let us use this involuntary moment and ask, what is the jewel? What is the jewel here for me? What do I need to learn here? What was missing in my life? How was I living as a remnant, a shard, a version of my true self, but not my true self? And use this great, big, pregnant pause to go inward. You are being stripped for a beautiful purpose. When we become parents, we are stripped for a beautiful purpose. But most of us miss the purpose because of insomnia, fatigue, and trying to get our bodies back. We miss it. Well, here we are again in the 9 months, hopefully it won't be 9 months, in a 9-month pause, so to speak. The conception of a new you has been planted in your womb, the womb of your consciousness, the womb of humanity's consciousness. Now the question is, what will be birth? What will be birth? A similar rendition of the old, putrid, perverted, egoic, nihilistic, greedy, materialistic, capitalistic self? Or what will be birth something entirely like we've never seen before? Just like our children when they're birthed, we've never seen them before. We think we want them to be a version of us, our ego, the same rendition, a mini me. Will she look like me or my partner? Oh my goodness, hopefully neither. And then when the child comes out and the child is this completely new person, you're like, I don't know who this person is. But there lies the beauty and the spiritual revolution afforded by parenthood. There. But you know what we do? You know what we do? The child is nothing like us. Child is completely pure, new, clear, clean. You know what we do? We're like, no. This is too uncomfortable. So let us make you exactly like me. So we do that. We just go back and make them exactly like our grandfather, like our ancestors, and we call it tradition. It's not tradition. It's fear of the new. Tradition has been blasphemized into something holy. You know, tradition should not be sanctified. I know you won't like what I'm saying. And there's a reason I say this though. Listen to me. The reason why tradition has been blasted into sanctification, because it's been sold as this amazing thing. In some ways it is slightly amazing, but in many ways it isn't. You know why? Because it is a blind and automatic, default, immediate, robotic projection of the past onto the future. And we do this with our children all the time. The child is new and we go, no, let me give you my ideas. Let me make you like me. I like baseball, you like baseball. I like violin, you like violin. I like spicy food, you like spicy food. And then when the kid protests and says, no, I am a new, beautiful being. Can you please see me and be astonished at my vast, new potential? You're like, no, you're not a vast, new being. You are one more in the line of lineage, of descendants of great tradition and pomp and circumstance. And you have to follow the tradition, you see? So we put onto this new being and we stamp out its unique existence. So in the same way, Now we are about to birth a new consciousness. But because we are so scared, and because we are clingers of so-called tradition, so-called past, so-called routine, we're robotic. We're so scared of the new that we are literally waiting for the new birth to be the old. And what I want to offer you is that the old is old for a reason. The past is the past for a reason. It's not here. What is here now is a new awareness. If you allow yourself to sink into the new awareness. And the new awareness is all that was not the true me. It wasn't. And I am now being asked to go inside on a rehab, on a meditation retreat, to ask, who am I without? And this mass stripping, this suspension of the old, the suspension of routine and tradition, the suspension of all past patterns, of all reliance on grades. So just because I said grades, let me just divert and I will come back. Most people here in the US, at least, have been complaining that the education system has literally not skipped a beat. And teachers have been complaining, because teachers are parents too. So teachers have been complaining that they are teaching students nonstop. Students are complaining that they have not missed a beat to even adjust to this new trauma, to this new traumatic moment in time for them. And parents are traumatized because they have to be dual roles of teacher and parent and forget other roles. So everyone is tethered to this idea of grades, that our children will miss something. What the education system is missing is that the true learning now needs to be adapted to the true situation. And to force all learning in the old way just because is just in the name of tradition. And it is just an indication of attachment and an inability to let go. And I hope that the education system rehauls itself now, and the college system rehauls itself, but more importantly, that you and I understand that focus, that obsession, especially here in the West, on where you go to school, is really one that we need to re-examine, is really one we need to recontemplate, because every kid cannot be fit into the same mold, and we can see that now. So our reliance on grades, on things, on possessions, on relationships. So with this pause that we just took is a new beginning. So I'm going to ask you, what has been stripped from your life? Can you allow for it to be released? Can you allow for a new birthing of you? Can you allow for this rehab, for this detox, for this withdrawal to take place, to uncover a new you? Can you allow the birthing of a new consciousness to take place? Now, in order for a new consciousness to take place, your way of thinking has to change, and you have to do some self-growth and self-work. So meditate, take courses about the inner self, begin to understand who you are, not as an external being craving for external validation, but an internal being craving for internal connection. And when we as a consciousness, beginning with you and I, individual, micro, when you and I begin to nurture and heal our inner selves, this ripple effect will go on to our children, to their friends, and this is how a new tomorrow will come from the earth of our belly, from our consciousness, from our mind. So we are the tillers of the new soil. And this grand pause is asking us to pick the right seeds, to plant the right seeds this time, so that when we re-emerge into the clearing, into the opening after this tunnel, after this birth canal, we are nurturing the right seeds. So what will you let go of willingly? What will you say, I release, with great surrender and grace? What will you say you are happy to be stripped off from? What are you happy? I know for me, I am so happy that I can learn to live without excess, without distractions, without reliance on outer stimulation. I am so relieved to see that about me. But I don't want to forget this. I don't want to go back into my new life and go back into that craving, wanting, needing. I want to remember. So this is how a new consciousness gets birth. When you go within yourself and you discover who you are without. And who you are without is who you are within. So I'm going to read from the Tao Te Ching. It's a fascinating book that I use in my life to help me. It's called the Tao Te Ching, and it's something I send out in my newsletter. I'll send you the link. If you need the link, somebody will post it here. And it's just something to think about and offer you a different perspective on how you're handling this present moment. So I'm going to read verse 8. Verse 8 says, it's beautiful, so just listen. It takes some time. Close your eyes, go inward, and just listen. The supreme good is like water. The supreme good is like water, which nourishes all things without trying to. It is content with the low places that most people disdain. Thus, it is like the Tao. The Tao is the way. So the Tao Te Ching teaches us how to live life without a religion, without a cult, without a following, simply to understand the nature of life. So the Tao says the supreme good is like water. So I always say out of all the elements, the element of water is the most profound because water flows without resistance and water always goes to the lowest point. It doesn't get scared of the lowest point. We humans get scared of the lowest point because we have somehow mistaken the highest point to be power. The highest point to be power because of our ego, our desire for control and dominance, to look better, to be richer, to have more. We always want higher and more. But that's not the nature of the most supreme good, which is water. Water always flows to the lower because water understands that there is great power in humility. What that means is there's great power when you let go of your need for power. The greatest power is when you've let go of your need for power, when you've surrendered. In dwelling, the Tao says, in dwelling, meaning in living, the Tao says, live close to the ground. What that means is don't be so high up. Don't think you in your penthouse with your fabulous views or your skyscrapers, it means anything. It says live humble, live close to the ground. In thinking, keep to the basics, which means stay in the present moment. Don't try to get fancy degrees, fancy grades. Now, if you get it effortlessly, no problem, but don't crave it. In conflict, be fair and generous. In governing, don't try to control. In work, do what you enjoy. In family life, be present. When you are content to simply be yourself, when you don't compare or compete, you will gain the ultimate respect for yourself. So, similarly to what I was talking about, when you allow yourself to be stripped of all your ego, all your habits, all your identities, all your power, all your control, you actually learn to live in peace with who it is you truly are. And who it is you truly are is just who you authentically are. Without the defense, without the mask, without any facade. So you are being stripped. Can you willingly allow yourself to be naked? And not be afraid of what you see in the reflection. Because the more naked you are to your own eye, meaning the more raw, the more truthful, the more honest you are, you discover the ultimate power, which is power over your own destiny, power over your own mind, power over your own inner space. No one owns you anymore. This virus is showing us, no one owns you anymore. You claim yourself. You and only you claim yourself by living in the present moment. The only moment is here now. How am I living right now? How am I living right now? This is the burning question. Have I been living in lie or truth? Have I been living in power or enslavement? Have I been living in liberation or in attachment? How have I been living? Ask the question while you are feeling the pangs of your labor. Don't let yourself be birthed in exactly the same way. I'll see you here tomorrow at the same time. Bye, Instagram. So this will stay on my story. If you're watching it, it's on my story for 24 hours. But if you want to join me and see all my videos from this viral wisdom course, you can go to my Facebook page and all the videos are there. And I've really been taking people through a step-by-step, moment-by-moment journey. And I'd love to see you get all of it. It's all yours for free. A free course for you. See you all tomorrow.